السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته، وأهلا ومرحبا بكم في هذه الحلقة الثامنة من سلسلة تهافت نظرية الأرض المسطحة، وهي الحلقة المرتقبة حيث نعرض فيها المناظرة. لكن قبل أن نعرض المناظرة نرد على التساؤل: لماذا نركز على موضوع الأرض المسطحة هذه الأيام؟ أولا، وكما قلنا في بداية السلسلة، نحن لا نكفر ولا نبدع ولا نفسق ولا نعطي أي حكم ديني لمن يظن أن الأرض مسطحة أو كروية، فالأمر ليس عقائديا، ونحن نركز على هذه النقطة مرة بعد أخرى. الأمر ليس عقائدي، لأن هذه النقطة هي المدخل الذي يدخلون على الشباب منه. اختلف علماء الشرع من السلف والخلف في موضوع شكل الأرض. ستجد دائما علماء يقولون بالتكوير وعلماء يقولون بالتسطيح. هذه حقيقة، يعني أن الأمر غير محسوم شرعيا، لأنه ليس فيه دليل قطعي واحد، ولو وجد دليل قطعي واحد لما خالفه إلا كافر، لأنه يكون مكذبا للقرآن بذلك، وهذا أمر متفق عليه، فيجب أن نعي هذه النقطة. لم يثرب العلماء بعضهم على بعض أو يتهم بعضهم بعضا بصفات مثل مبتدع أو مخرف أو ضال أو كافر أو غير ذلك، بل اعتبروه موضوع خلافي غير عقائدي لم يحسمه الدليل الشرعي. المشكلة هنا هو في من يجعله أمرا عقائديا ويوالي ويعادي فيه، فهو مغال ومبتدع، وهذا سيقف موقفا خاطئا أمام من قال بخلاف رأيه من علماء الأمة المحترمين الذين قالوا غير قوله. في الواقع انتشرت هذه البدعة من جعل الأمر عقائدي وجزء من الإيمان والموالاة والمعاداة عليه وربط الهداية به، خاصة في جانب المسطحين، كما شرح ذلك الشيخ المهيلان وهو مسطح في الحلقة الأولى. نحن نظن كما يظن الشيخ أن الأمر مريب، وأن هناك من يحركه لمزيد من الاختراق للمسلمين والتفريق ونشر بدع عقائدية جديدة وأهداف أخرى. أما من الناحية العلمية والعقلية والمشاهدات الدنيوية، وهي التي تحسم الأمر كما قال الشيخ المهيلان، فكل علماء الأمة المتخصصين قديمهم وحديثهم متفقون على كروية الأرض، وقاسوا قطرها ومحيطها بدقة كبيرة، ورسموا الخرائط على مجسم مكور وغير ذلك. ولهذا استشهد ابن تيمية بإجماع أهل الهيئة على صحة كروية الأرض، لأنهم أهل الذكر، فاسألوا أهل الذكر إن كنتم لا تعلمون. نحن في المركز نعتقد أن من ضمن أهداف المخربين هو ربط هذه النظرية بالقرآن لإسقاط القرآن، كما فعلوا مع الكنيسة، فقد تبنت نفس موقف المسطحين ثم كفر الناس بدينها. ونحاول في المركز أن نوفر مادة علمية ومنطقية للناس لتوعيتهم، كما فعلنا دائما مع المؤامرات. نحن نعرف أن هناك مخربين خبثاء مغرضين، ولكن أيضا هناك المخدوعين والباحثين عن الحق، ولهؤلاء نتوجه. طلب مني المسطحون مناظرتين في هذا الأمر، ولأني أعرف من هم وما هو مستواهم فلم أجبهم، غير أنني أنشر اليوم الجزء الأول من مناظرة حامية الوطيس بين اثنين من المتحمسين والناشطين في الموضوع. كما سترون في المناظرة ليس هناك أرضية علمية يمكن جدال المسطحين بشأنها، ليس عندهم علوم، ليس عندهم إلا الشكوك والتساؤلات، يرفضون أبسط المسلمات، وبالتالي لم يبقى لهم إلا الجهل. ملحوظات داخل المناظرة: يعني التسمية بالكوكب أو النجم أو الشمس في التعبير القرآني يختلف عن التسمية في التعبير المصطلحي، لكن الجميع يتفقون على خصائص هذا وذاك. يعني مثلا الكوكب في القرآن يأتي للإخبار عن الجسم اللامع، لكن الكوكب يستخدم عند أهل الاصطلاح بأنه الجسم الذي لا ينير، الخامل، المنطفئ. أيضا من الملحوظات أن العلماء المسلمين هم أول من وصف الجاذبية بدقة وليس نيوتن، فالجاذبية مصدرها العلماء المسلمين. لن أطيل عليكم لأن المناظرة طويلة، ولذلك قسمناها إلى 3 حلقات، والآن هذه هي الحلقة الأولى.
Without any further ado, let us bring in the guest for the Flat Earth debate. Here we go. Here's Flat Earth David. Hey, David, how's it going?
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for having me. This
Thank
is
you for
going
coming
to
back.
be going to be interesting for sure.
It's going to be very interesting, isn't it? And Professor Dave,
Howdy.
Thank you for coming on for the first time.
Thanks for having me.
Congratulations on your YouTube success, man. 2 million subs. That's phenomenal.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is the first time I think a real flat earther, I'll call myself a real flat earther, has spoken direct with Professor Dave, as he normally does videos, that just go out and pretty much straw man us, whether you know it or not, or gaslight us, and then there's really no way to respond because
No, so you've never seen my channel ever and have no idea what I do because I
Oh,
make
no, no,
academic tutorials.
I have, but your flat Earth stuff is
hmm
is gaslighting us
Is
essentially. So,
devastating and
well, yeah,
destroys flat Earth
devastating.
easily.
Absolutely. So
I
was
started
wondering-
big
I was
straw
wondering-
man. Oh, he says that they think the Earth is flat. What a
You know
straw
what?
man!
I'm with you. Listen, I don't mean to come off that way. Would it be okay to look for some common ground? Can I just ask a couple of quick questions, Dave? You good with that?
Whatever you want to do, man.
Yeah, I'm just for to see if we have any common ground. Do you believe we went to the moon?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you believe that governments are here, especially the American government, for the people's well-being?
It's a pretty complicated question.
Okay, you don't have to answer it. That's fine. That's good. Do you believe that there's censorship going on YouTube?
Yes.
Some stuff is deprioritized in the algorithm. I don't know if that qualifies as censorship.
And is the news here to inform or to fill us with propaganda?
The news is largely propaganda. None of
Right.
that has anything to do with the shape of the Earth. So I don't know what the hell you're even talking about. Literally, none of that has to do with the shape of the Earth. So you're
Shame
really
on
off
you.
to a bad start already.
Just looking for some common ground. That's all.
Well,
So
if we
Sean-
both don't like the government, therefore the Earth is flat.
I
So
just
so
wanted
the
to
so
see
the
your
common
stance.
so the common ground is then we're going to try and keep talking points to 3 minutes each, responses to 2 or 3 minutes each, so we could get through this hour and everyone could get an equal share of the time involved here. And I think the first point that we've got up on the list is, what is gravity?
You want to go first, Dave, or you want me to go?
Oh, okay. This is how we're doing this? Okay, so according to general relativity, it's the curvature of space-time around massive objects. And so this is one of the easiest ways to know that the Earth is a sphere, because everything we see, everything, including the Earth, right, very large, massive objects are crushed into a sphere. That's why stars, planets, moons, everything pretty much is spheres. So you can now go ahead and do your like electric gravity bullshit, and then I'll explain to you why it's stupid.
Well, the question is, does anybody any scientists or anybody that's ever proven that any of the luminaries we see in the sky are even physical, let alone spheres?
Yeah, we can see them in telescopes.
You can
We
see
can-
them. So you believe that if you see something, that'll tell you its shape. So when I look at this, are these spheres?
Oh.
Are these spheres, Dave? Are these spheres?
Yeah, no, I've seen this little trick, and I know the
It's not a
third one
little
from
trick.
the left is flat.
It's
No,
showing you.
see, here's the
third
problem.
one from the left is flat. Dave, let me give me a second, then you can go.
No, because I've seen
What-
you do this, because I watched 2 of your videos, and you say the same crap in every single one.
Right.
I
But
know what
I'm
these
showing
are.
you
I know
is
what these
you
shapes
don't-
these are.
So how do you know what shape the moon is? How do
Okay,
you know
so-
that the moon is even a physical object?
Here-
Because
here's
during a new moon, no one
Yeah,
sees
I
the
get
moon
it.
in the sky.
I know your talking points. So this works because that's not moving. The things in the sky move. So if you take the third one from the left, which I know is flat, and you move it around, it's going to start to change shape, right? If the moon was a flat disk, I don't even know if that's one of your talking points or not. As it passed over you, it would change shape. It would
I don't think the
distort.
moon is a flat disk at all.
Okay, so it doesn't matter though. That's why what you're saying is stupid, because these objects do not move. Now, the other problem is it's not just about shape, it's about other things like composition. Do you know what spectroscopy is?
Yeah, spectroscopy is you can measure gases, but it has to be in a container. Where's the container?
No. Stop. We're looking at light. We're looking at light, and we are understanding about the materials, right? We're understanding the composition of things based on light. So when you start talking about gases, you show me immediately that you don't even know what spectroscopy is. So you do not know the ways in which we figure out things about celestial objects. You literally don't even know the definitions of the words that represent the techniques that we use. So why are you even talking about it?
So my question is, spectroscopy needs to be in a container. Otherwise, you don't know what you're looking
Spectroscopy needs to be in a container. The study
be-
of how light interacts with matter needs to be in a container. What does that mean?
Otherwise, when you're looking at the moon, you don't know what gases you're seeing in between us and the moon.
Gases? The moon is solid. The moon is a solid object.
How do you know that the moon is solid? How come you can't see it during a new moon?
Why can't you see it during a new moon?
Yeah.
Because do you understand how vision works?
Well,
Right? In a new moon, what's happening in a new moon? The
there's no
light from
light.
the sun is illuminating the side of away from us.
So
Right? Light illuminates the things that it hits. So a new moon is when the side that the sun is illuminating is the other side away from us. What do
Dave,
you want it to do? The light to go around the moon and come back and
So-
hit the other side like magic?
without interrupting, let me just answer. When we have when it's nighttime, you're away from all lights and there's a full moon, I can read by that moonlight. That moonlight casts a shadow on the ground. Don't interrupt. That casts a shadow on the ground. So that moonlight, which is reflected sunlight off a dusty, dirty, rocky, rock ball in your world, is bright enough to travel 238,000 miles to cast a shadow on the ground and to light up my book so I can read. During a total solar eclipse in your world, the Earth is a full Earth from the moon's point of view. It's bigger and shinier, and it should light up the moon, but it doesn't. And no telescope, from any position with the infrared or anything, has ever seen the moon.
Can you think of why? Can you think of why? Can you think of a much, much brighter object that is right there where the moon is?
Well, during
the corona of the sun, which is thousands of times brighter. What you're doing right now is you're basically saying, I'm going to shine a spotlight directly into your eyes, and then you tell me if you can see a firefly 2 centimeters to the right. Like, what are you talking about? Do you
Dave,
seriously not understand this stuff? A child can understand this stuff.
So when you're throwing out words like spectroscopy, what's the difference between spectroscopy and astrospectroscopy?
What do you mean astro? So astro is a prefix that means stars. So if that's even a word, it's spectroscopy pertaining to stars. What are you, like, Googling stuff furiously over there?
I'm just asking you, I've taken a few notes. I figured out, I watch a few of your videos. I know the straw manning that you're going to try to do and the things that you're going to try to claim. And in reality, an infrared camera, a regular camera from the space station, they should be able to see the sun, the moon, either approach the sun, eclipse the sun completely, or exit the sun, and nobody has ever seen it. So again, why are we looking up in the sky? When
I just explained. I just answered your question. You just answered it again. You asked a question that I just answered. The sun is very bright, right? Way, way, way brighter than Earthshine. Do you understand that if something very bright, you're looking at something very bright, you can't see something way less bright next to it? What are you not getting about that?
When there's a total eclipse of the sun and you have the little ring around there, you can block that out so it doesn't blind you and you still can't see it. You know what?
It doesn't block it out. The corona. Have you never seen an eclipse?
Why are we talking? You can make a fake eclipse, right? By putting a disc in front of the sun and then looking at the corona. And you could do the same thing with the corona. You can block it. Why are we looking up at the lights in the ceiling that determine the shape of the floor?
Because it works really well. It's the easiest way to figure out the shape of the Earth is by looking at the celestial objects in the sky and recording their motion. It's very, very easy.
1 second. Ash has said we've got to move on to the next talking point, which is space is not as depicted, displayed in media, movies, etc. Flat Earth, Dave, do you want to start with that one?
Ask the question again, please.
Space is not as depicted, displayed in media, movies.
Yeah, I mean, space is, they're just, giving us images of insanity in space. Like when they show us, nebulas, right? They show us this and they tell us this is where stars are born. This is where there's gas and dust, so much of it that it's creating stars and spitting them out like ping pong balls where they go run away and they park themselves in the rest of the galaxy. This gas and dust in space, in a vacuum, in zero pressure, how does that work? How come this doesn't collapse in on itself? This is just
it does. That's how stars are born.
Yeah,
they do collapse. It's how stars form.
Ave, in your world, this is gases are collapsing upon themselves and then igniting themselves in a vacuum, in a vacuum, and then they burn stop.
Look, I know that you want to just spew your script without anybody challenging, but you say so many stupid things, and I'm here to tell you why everything you're saying is stupid. So when you say stars igniting in a vacuum, the reason that's confusing for you is that you think stars are little bonfires because you're a moron. Because you don't understand nuclear fusion. Nuclear fusion is the process by which stars glow. They're not little fireballs. And you can learn that by Googling something for 5 seconds, but you don't do it.
So Dave, you believe that all the rocky bits turn into perfect balls, and then all of the gases somehow start getting gravity, and they start pulling it together, and they get
Start
so
getting
big.
gravity? What do you
Well,
mean start getting gravity?
how do they grow into stars? How come the dust is accumulating? What's bringing it together? Is somebody popping
Gravity.
it up like a snowball? So
Gravity.
So yeah, so
Yeah.
so they get something, and it's a tiny bit of gravity pulls in some more dust. It pulls in not dust, it pulls in gases, and somehow it's pulling all of these gases together and turning into a nuclear furnace that burns for billions of years. I'm sorry, that doesn't make any sense. And if you
Okay,
want to believe that, that's the world.
so centuries of brilliant astronomers versus nuh-uh. Is that really all you have? Is the entire field of astronomy and you going, I don't like it. That's dumb. I'm dumb and I don't get it. So astronomy is wrong.
Dave,
That's literally your argument against astronomy right now.
You never met these men. You don't know anything about these men other than the stories that the controllers of this world tell you.
You know they wrote books, right?
Well,
you know
so
they wrote books that we can read, and then
but-
we base astronomy on that and do astronomy every day, right?
Dave, try not to interrupt. Aristophanes figured out the shadow. Eratosthenes figured out the diameter, the circumference of the Earth with his sticks and shadows. But nobody in that area that came out of that, other mathematicians, never wrote any books about him. They ignored him. They just never mentioned it, and then all of a sudden it shows up in the 1900s in books that go into the education
that's not true.
system.
I mean, if you're just going to lie, then we can just play the lie game.
And Dave, what about the fact that proves nothing? It works perfectly on a flat Earth. Sticks and shadows prove the Earth is flat, and it proves it's a globe. But you'd have to assume parallel rays. Listen to this. Aristophanes believed that parallel rays are coming into Earth, right? And no one has ever seen parallel rays coming into Earth, right? When we look, we always see them curved. We always see them corpuscular. But he also believed that the Earth was geocentric and we had an infinitely far sun. And so that sun is orbiting around a minuscule.
Far?
Well, infinitely far. Infinitely far means so far away that the rays come in parallel. And that's a whole nother problem. But how is a distant sun orbiting around a speck Earth in the middle of space? That doesn't make sense, and they didn't think about that. What doesn't
make sense? What doesn't make sense about an Earth orbiting a sun? What?
No,
that doesn't make sense?
Dave,
isn't an argument.
Dave, stop being a dick. Listen to what I said.
You stop being a dick.
The Eratosthenes believed that the Earth was geocentric, that the sun orbited us, but the sun was a distant sun. How does a distant gigantic sun orbit a minuscule speck Earth? Okay? Yeah, you have no answer for that.
They don't know. Yeah. It's the ancient Greeks. They didn't know. Now we know, right? We figured out heliocentrism in like the 16th century. So it was like 500 years ago. It's a pretty long time.
His story makes no sense. And the other question is, you believe that the sun rays that come in are parallel, right?
No, there are rays that are parallel, and then you can point a ray from the edge, one edge of the sun and the other edge. Look, light is going in all directions, right? The sun is expelling light. They're spherical waves of light, photons in every direction, right? So you can identify parallel rays, and then you can identify one from this edge. And if you want to talk about individual photons, you can draw paths from the edge of the sun going in one direction, the edge of the sun going in the other direction. You're trying to oversimplify things. You're trying to go, oh, it's corpuscular, it's all parallel, and so then this time it works for my talking point, and then another time it doesn't work for my talking point.
My point is Aristophanes' story doesn't make any sense with a distant sun orbiting a geocentric Earth.
Yeah, if you just say it doesn't make sense and stop talking, I guess.
How does a distant sun orbit a geocentric Earth when the Earth is tiny and the sun is gigantic?
Well, it doesn't. In your
Long
model. Story short, it doesn't. Yeah. But so he was an ancient Greek, and he didn't know heliocentrism. They didn't know when Newton developed Newton's law of universal gravitation. He didn't know why massive objects attract one another, right? He just said, "This is what happens," and I have this equation, and we use Newton's equations to do all these incredible calculations that predict the motion of objects on Earth and in space. He didn't know what gravity was. Einstein gave a better explanation. The curvature of space-time are warped around massive objects. We're probably going to get a better model later. Just that we don't know why things happen doesn't mean we can't do science at predictive power. So as it turns out, Eratosthenes and Ptolemy, the Ptolemaic model, was wrong. Heliocentric model is correct. It doesn't matter that they didn't know that part, or that they didn't know why something happens. Do you not understand how science works?
So if he was wrong and the Earth and were heliocentric, do you think his experiment proved your globe?
Well, yeah, it did.
Well,
All of those experiments proved the globe. It just didn't have
absolutely,
anything to do with heliocentrism. It proved
absolutely
the Earth
not.
is a sphere.
Absolutely not, because with a local sun in like the flat Earth is, we have no shadow here, and we have a shadow here, and then you could do your math and figure out what the sphericity of this flat plane is, right?
Okay.
That
So for
doesn't
that
work.
to work, how close is the sun?
How close is the sun?
How
We
close is the sun?
Yeah, the
Really
sun
close,
the
like right
sun.
above the clouds, which we'd be
The,
able to see if you went up in a plane or a balloon,
you
and
want to
it'd
hear
be
my
like right
answer?
there. Huh?
Dave, there's tons of videos explaining how the sun is an apparent object, and we all see it in a different position
Oh, there's
wherever
videos
we are.
that say
There,
dumb things, so
no,
it's
there's
true.
that show science, show experiments, and when you try to triangulate the sun, there's a problem. You can't do it. You can't triangulate the sun. So how far the sun is? Some flat earthers say it's 3,000 miles away. I don't like that answer. The math works. We can scale it and make it
The
6,000
math
miles
works.
away.
You've never done any math in your entire life. You
Hey,
just
Dave,
say the math works and
stop
expect
saying,
people to.
stop being a condescending prick. All right, try
Why
for
don't
a
you
few
stop
minutes.
condescending to the entire human race and pretending that every scientist ever is a liar and satanic deceiver? That's much more offensive than me calling you stupid, which you are.
Dave, what is the sun?
What is the sun? It's a star.
It's a star. It's a
It's a
burning.
star.
It's a nuclear furnace that's working perfectly, and it's bending space-time where it could hold on to all of the planets that go all the way out to Pluto. Is that your belief?
Well, Pluto's now a
All
trans-Neptunian
right.
object.
So we'll go
But
Neptune.
yes,
We'll go all right.
yes.
And then the sun's gravity ignores all of the moons because the moons are attracted to their planets, and it negates the sun. That's what you believe.
What do you mean negates the sun?
Yeah,
So
negates the sun.
moons. So what you're saying is that like one of Jupiter's
I'm
moons
asking
should go
you.
flying towards the sun?
I'm
Is
not
that what
saying
you're
that.
saying?
I'm not saying that at all. I'm asking you if you
Uh-huh.
believe that the sun's gravity has no effect on moons.
Yeah, it had. You can calculate. You can see. This is what real scientists and people who understand science can do calculations. So instead of you going, I don't believe it, what you could do is you could take Newton's law of universal gravitation and take a moon, whatever moon, if you want to talk about our moon or one of Mars's or one of Jupiter's or whatever, and you could calculate a number that is the gravitational attraction between the sun and whatever moon you're talking about. And then you could do the same thing for the moon and its parent planet that it is orbiting. Which number do you think is going to be bigger, buddy? Which one do you think is going to be bigger?
And so
The
when we have
planet, the one that it is orbiting
when
around.
we have a planetary alignment where all the planets are lining up, all of that gravity.
Hang on. You know what? Sorry. I would like you to actually just address what I just said, because this is what happens is I say something, or a flat earth debunker like myself says something that just annihilates the idiotic thing you just said, and then you just gish gallop to another point. I would like you to admit that what you just said is stupid based on what I just said.
Repeat what you said.
I just explained to you why what you said about the sun and the moon is stupid, and you just jumped to another talking point.
So you say that the gravity of the planet is holding on to these moons,
Yeah.
and it's so much stronger. Let
Yeah.
me finish. I'm reiterating what you say to show you how stupid it is. It's holding on to the planets, but the sun's gravity, it can hold on to the planets, hold on to distant planets, but can't affect those moons at all.
Can't affect, like I just said, you can do a calculation. Did you want to do the calculation? Do you want to do it together? Do you want to learn something today? It's called
David,
Newton's law of universal gravitation. Do you know what is in the denominator? R squared. It drops off, gravity drops off by the square of the distance. So as things get very, very far away, their gravitational influence is dramatically less, exponentially so. So when you have a moon that is right near a planet, the gravitational effect is way more than the faraway sun. Isn't that neat? Isn't that a neat thing that we can do with math and numbers that are real things that scientists do, instead of just going, it doesn't make sense, so that's dumb.
You done?
Yeah. What do you got? Do you want to address this thing, or do you want to jump right to another thing?
I want to jump to something else, because you say that the sun's gravity that can hold on to Neptune and Pluto can't affect the moon, which is way closer to it, and that the Earth's gravity overwhelms that. That's stupid. That's me saying it.
Why?
You're the
all you're saying is that's stupid. All you're saying is that's stupid.
And all
Why?
you're saying is that it works because I could do math, but it doesn't. It doesn't work.
What do you mean it doesn't?
Dave, model it. You know about the 3-body problem? I'm sure you know about that.
Oh, the 3-body problem. So we can't
Hey,
do
Dave,
calculations.
Stop being such a condescending prick. We already know. Just talk normal. Have a discussion.
Sorry, hang on one second. This is serious.